welcome to the Be Amazing podcast, live in the room, and I am right here with all of my, I'm going to say soul sisters right now, because we are all coming together for a incredible weekend. It's a Be Amazing pop-up here in Charlotte. It's May 2024, and my friend Dacia is here. I love you too. And we have to start this off because we've just kind of talked a little bit about it, but I mean, how did this come about? Because it was just a conversation, and all of a sudden it's like, we're going to have a pop-up.
Yeah, conversation, and now it's an event, right?
Yeah. We turned everything into an event.
So my friend Cassie had shared a link to a mud run with me. And she said, okay, you know, what's our next adventure, and where do you want to go? So when I pulled up the website, I was scrolling through, and I saw Charlotte, and I was like, we're going back to Charlotte. We want to see Cel. So that was my excuse to come see you.
Well, we were just talking about that because you did call me and you were talking about the mud run, and then we're talking, and then Cassie, you're the one that started this whole thing.
Yeah, it's just like, let's go on another adventure. It's been a year since I'd seen Dacia, so I was like, oh, who do I want to do this with? And then I was like, well, Dacia's the only one that I know would want to go through the mud with me. That's my girl, so let's do it.
That's a good conversation. Girl, I was like, and I just started with the conversation. When you guys?
It always starts with one. I think it always starts with somebody's idea, and because you sent her the link, and then Dacia reached out to me because we've been missing each other. Like, we've been keeping up, but we haven't seen each other, and so it was just this thing of like, it totally makes sense. Mm-hmm. And we thought, well, let's like just make a whole weekend of it. And so here we are, and everybody here is from somewhere different. So I kind of want to go around the room. So Lori, we're going to start with you.
From Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Not Charlotte, North Carolina.
Where are you from?
I live in Massachusetts.
Charlotte.
New Jersey, but original from Portugal.
Massachusetts.
Charlotte,
Raleigh, North Carolina.
South Arkansas.
Yeah, it's so cool when you realize like how many different places, and like a lot of us have never met all together. So it's kind of like Charlotte group meets the Strong Camp group, because that's really where this crew came from. Because we were all part of Strong Camp. Mm-hmm. We were talking about that a little bit ago. And for those of you that may not know what Strong Camp was, and I have to say was because it is no longer, but it was a opportunity for women to come together for a weekend to empower and inspire through fitness. And that's really at the root of it. We all share some level of wanting to take care of ourselves, be healthy. Mm-hmm. And that's really all this weekend is about, is coming together. We're doing the physical stuff. We're doing the girly stuff. Like, we had a photo shoot today, which was so fun.
So much fun.
Yeah, so much fun. And then we're doing self-care, which I think is going to be really important on Sunday. But the theme for our weekend is overcoming obstacles. And Dacia, tell me a little bit about what that has meant for you, because I know this is very personal. Mm-hmm. This is very personal.
I don't even know where to start. I'm a person of many surgeries. If you would. I've had my rotator cuff done. I've had my booty hole done. I had an inside and outside hemorrhoidectomy, which was like the worst pain. I'd rather do 5 more shoulders than go through that again. But most recently, I had my breast implants removed. And that was a huge thing for me, because back when I got them in, I was very lean at the time, getting ready to compete Fitness America. And I wanted symmetry, I wanted fullness, you know, all the things the judges look at. And so I put them in 2011. I felt wonderful. And about 7 years later is when all my symptoms started. And I started to go downhill. My health started declining. Injuries after injuries after injuries, like no recovery time for my muscles. Brain fog was one. My eyesight has declined rapidly over the last 5 years. I used to have really good vision. I could see really good close up. They used to tell me I could see cobwebs in All Bank, which was the bank across the street from the restaurant that I worked at. But again, you know, it's what's it worth to me? So now getting those out and setting my baseline back to where I was when I was, you know, super lean, athletic, and healthy. Now I feel like I'm on that road back. Now that I've got them out, I mean, yeah, I look a little different, but I feel so much better.
Yeah, it's been a big conversation because you talked to me a little bit about when it started and like the decision that you made. And I remember the pressure that women felt, especially if you were competing. You felt that pressure to have to show up a certain way. And I laugh about this because the last show I did in 2017, I was wearing, somebody had a suit for me to wear, and I couldn't fill out the cups because I'm pretty flat. So I like took tube socks to stuff in my bra so that I felt like I had more symmetry, so that I filled it out. And like, I laugh now because I look at the picture and I'm like, all I can think about is like, those are tube socks. That's not even my boobs. But I really think that's been an ongoing, upcoming conversation with women in health and feeling good. And I know that some of you all have had the same surgeries or gone through something similar.
How many people here had breast implants removed?
So I have 3.
3. Yeah, that's like almost half the group.
And Cassie, what for you? What was that? Why was that important to you?
I got them removed 2.5 years ago now. For me, I wasn't competing or anything, but I was young. I had my daughter, and I wanted like to be even. You know, I've always been well grounded, as my friends used to say, but I'm just very bottom heavy. And so I wanted to be even, and so for me that was important back then. And then as the years went by, I just started not feeling good. I actually found myself I found myself wanting to hide my body more when I had them. I felt like I was always exposed, and so my mental health was not good. You know, I wasn't near as confident or comfortable in my own body, and but then I started just feeling like the brain fog was one that Dacia and I had talked about a lot. My skin, the white in my eyes was yellowing. I was not sleeping very good at all. My body was always inflamed. I felt very like puffy all the time in my face and my joints and everything. So a friend of mine, she had hers removed, and she was like, "You should just go into this Facebook group and just scope it out for a little while and just see if you match with some of these other women that have gone through similar things." Because I went to the doctors and they're like, "You're fine, you know, you're just 30, or you're just this, or you've had kids, like what, you know." I'm like, yeah, but so has my friend over here, and she's, you know, healthy and doesn't have any of these issues either. So yeah, I went to the Facebook group and I started looking at symptoms and how I was feeling and having conversations with women. And I was like, there's no way that all of these people are all cuckoo crazy, you know, like the doctors told me I was, you know, and I was like, there's no way. And so I was like, you know what? I asked my husband, I was like, what do you think? And he was like, take them out. He was like, get rid of them. I don't want to do it. And he was like, I'm just kidding. I love you the way you are. However. And so I was like, okay. So I actually went to Mexico and got them removed. And it's been almost 3 years. So.
And you feel good?
I felt good within 24 hours. Like, it's not like an instant, but I was told by the girls in the group to take before and after pictures of your face, take before pictures of your eyes, take before pictures of, write in a journal about how you just feel on a daily basis, so that you have something to reference back to, because sometimes you don't notice all the little things afterwards, and it takes time, you know. But I'm still realizing, like, oh wow, like that doesn't hurt, or my joints, like that's one big thing for me. I was like, my joints are not in pain, the inflammation's not near as bad. But one thing was the white in my eyes. Like when you do a side by side, like the white of my eyes within 2 days was significantly brighter, and I didn't even know that they weren't, you know, until I took a picture afterwards, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, so. That was, it's been an ongoing thing.
Yeah, I had to get 2 opinions for mine.
Yeah.
My first doctor said, well, Dacia, you're 47 years old, you should just eat less and exercise more. And I was like, you know what I do, right? Like I teach 5 classes a week, I'm constantly exercising, I eat lots of meats and greens, and it just wasn't coming off. So I couldn't figure out 50 pounds of weight gain over a 7-year period. That like, where's it coming from? It's gotta be coming from somewhere. So like hormones, my body rejecting them after so long, the inflammation, like who knows?
Well, I think
But
I feel like the big thing you said was inflammation, because you
Yeah.
said the same thing, and I feel like a lot of people, the other women that I know that have had this done, they've all said the same thing.
Yeah, you
It's
feel like
inflammation,
lighter
it's like-
after, like you can full range of motion in your hips and your arms again.
You can take a full breath, which you didn't realize you couldn't do before.
Wow.
Like I don't know if it's the pressure on your chest or, I mean, you've had breast reduction, and I'm sure that you've had similar where it's like all of a sudden you can like take a deep breath where it's like, oh my goodness, but I feel like having something that isn't yours, that's in your body, it's like your body's always trying to get rid of things that doesn't belong in it. It's the way it was designed. And so when we have something embedded in us that isn't supposed to be there, your body can have an effect after a long period of time where all of a sudden it's like it's fighting constantly. Like I was sick, just cold symptoms all the time, and I'm like, what is going on? But it was, if you think about how much like goes on in your system, and it's constantly trying to remove things that do not belong in your body, or same with like allergies, pollen, things like that. Our body is designed to get rid of things, and so all that energy is going into trying to remove something that we just wanted for funsies,
Laura, what about you? Because I know you have your own story.
Right. I mean, I have mine. I breastfed my three kids, and they sucked me dry. Like I was like, Discovery Channel with, So I knew nothing about competing. I never thought I'd compete. So that's not why I did it. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because it really worked for me, probably, right? But I went and had them, and I never liked them. The doctors, they always think, well, just want to go bigger, and I always felt uncomfortable with the size. So, and then 4 years after I had them put in, I got breast cancer. So fortunately, I thought I was going to have a mastectomy, but they were able to kind of work around it. And so they did lumpectomy and radiation and medication. So I think I'm going on 16, I don't know, I lose count, but it's been a long time. The breast cancer. But thank you. When I had them in, you couldn't really tell. It was just, although I could see the, what do you call it? Like the outline of where they put the saline in or whatever, but so you could kind of see that through the skin. But when they took them out, I'm pretty deformed on that one side.
Were they outside the muscle or under?
Under. Yeah, but I think they took a lot of tissue. They probably took a lot of muscle, and everything just adhered together. So, then I'm like, and Dr. Chatson was like, I didn't notice that during surgery, right? Because I have like a little valley there. Yeah.
Dr. Chatson was an amazing doctor.
He
Such
really-
a good
he really
bedside
is.
manner, like listen to
And
what
his
you have
staff,
to say.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
But no, I'd sound like a broken record if I said, but exactly everything you guys said. Inflammation, brain fog. I'm only 7 weeks post-op, so I'm still kind of noticing that with the inflammation. And I went to my lung doctor yesterday morning before I got on the plane. I was waiting forever. I'm like, am I going to go? But I told her, I said, I don't need my trilogy anymore. I think I'm good. And I feel lighter. And when I lay down, I don't feel like one's here and one's there. Headlights were always a little off too. They still are. But so the doctor said he could fix. He could do take some fat and put it on. I'm not going to do anything with it. Why would I do that? I'm just uncomfortable with it. So they make pads. So I just shove one in that side and. But anyway, so I'm starting to feel better. It's a gradual thing for me. It wasn't like but yeah. So
That's
it's all good.
So when I was coming here, I made a list of my symptoms.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I probably have all
So
of
we
them
got like 90% of the ones on the list I have.
Yeah.
Fatigue, brain fog, inability to concentrate, dry skin, muscle and joint pain, weight gain, inflammation, decline in vision, poor sleep, slow healing of cuts and scrapes, ears ringing, skin rashes, slow muscle recovery, achy joints in the shoulders, hips, back, hands, and feet, dehydration. This could be the root cause of my hemorrhoids.
Holy cow.
Thinking
Yeah.
back 2 years ago, like when my symptoms first started for the hemorrhoids, it was severe dehydration no matter how much water I drank. Like I left night shift from the flight line, went to the ER because I was bleeding out my bum. Like twice I went to the bathroom and just filled the toilet with blood. And I went down there and they said, you have hemorrhoid. And that was 2 years ago. He said, eat more fiber and drink more water.
Can I ask, did it hurt?
The
Could you
hemorrhoid
feel them when you would, Yeah.
When I had them, they didn't itch, burn, none of the regular symptoms. It was just straight blood up my butt.
I'm still going through that right at this moment.
But let me tell you, man, listen, that hemorrhoidectomy, the surgery was, like I said, I'll do 10 shoulders again before I do that. No freaking way will I ever go through that again.
Good to know.
It was horrific. Frequent urination, numbness in my hands, shortness of breath, anxiety, and depression. Symptoms of fibromyalgia. I was tested for fibromyalgia, but I didn't have it. But I had all the classic symptoms of it. Lyme disease, also testing negative. In 2018, I tested for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is so fascinating because I think this is eye-opening and talking about this piece. Not only is it the physical, but I really feel like from the mental standpoint of how it affects you as a woman, because it's your breasts we're talking about, and we're all very, like, everybody has looks at yourself, and I think we can be our harshest critic, and then you go into the office and you trying to make the decision of, like, do I keep them, do I take them out? But what I love is, like, every single one of you, there's not 1 ounce of insecurity from having that done. Like, y'all are completely, like today during the photo shoot, completely secure in who you are, and I think that's amazing.
When I first met with Dr. Chadson for a consult, I left there and I was like, no way, because he's like, you really only have a little bit of breast tissue. And I'm like, I don't want to lose my femininity. I wanted to have something. And, but then, my niece, she's 33, just diagnosed with HER2, I think that's what it's called, breast cancer. And she's going to have a mastectomy. And I'm like, all right, well, do what you got to do, I'm fine. So, yeah.
We're fine just the way we are.
It was tough initially. It was a tough decision for me. Yeah.
I'm sure it is. Like,
Yeah.
I don't doubt that one bit.
But I have no regrets.
That's awesome.
I don't.
Well, let's go into I want everybody to have an opportunity to share like kind of why you came this weekend, and maybe overcoming a challenge or obstacle. Lori, do you have anything that's like, that spoke to you about this weekend or spoke to you about coming today? Like, other than doing the shoot? I could part of shoot.
But no, it's interesting because when I was in my 20s, I wanted to get implants and just never went with it. And so I'm ground heavier.
We're well grounded.
Yeah, we're
Well,
grounded. But, for me, I'm coming up on 10 years of being in recovery from bulimia. And so that is a huge thing. So I'm very thankful to be where I am and to, to still be active and be healthy. Because sometimes you hear someone who's overcome it, but then they don't necessarily have the healthiest lifestyle. And so I'm very thankful that I am where I am.
That's awesome. Yeah, 10 years.
10 years.
That's
Yes.
awesome. And girl, you are all about a photo shoot. Lori's like, I'm in.
Yes.
I'm in for the photo shoot. I'm in. All right, Jayna. Share a little bit about you. Why are you here?
Because there's nothing quite like being surrounded by so many strong and amazing women. I think the spirit that women have with each other, that they give each other space and extend compassion, empathy. There's an inner fierceness and strength that we have that we provide to each other. And so that's one reason I'm here. The other reason why I'm here is, we talk about female and being a woman, right? And it's one thing when you have your breast removed, it's a whole nother when you find out you have ovarian cancer and you have to have a hysterectomy, and if you haven't had kids, to have that completely eliminated. And so that is something that I went through day after Christmas, and just now coming on the other side of it, and so it's been a unique experience and a journey, and I wouldn't have been able to get through it had I not had Allie, Seal, Melissa, and Nico by my side throughout that entire journey, because they gave me the strength to get through something I wasn't sure I could ever get through, and to overcome that obstacle. I'm so thankful.
And you've been through a lot.
It's been a year.
Yeah, you've been through a lot. But the thing about you is you are so strong, and we've witnessed it, and we've watched it, and we see it, and there's an inner strength there, that's carried you through. And I mean, if anybody were to say strong woman, you would be right there. Yeah, because you've had a couple battles back to back and a couple of challenges that you've had to overcome, and are kind of in the middle of some as well. But like, you're doing awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was sharing with a younger girlfriend the other day. She's like, I don't understand how you can do this. And I was like, well, think of it this way. Every test you give in life becomes your testimony, and the things that we feel like are a mess eventually become our message. And so everything that I'm taking away from that is this is part of my testimony, and I'm putting a message for the future. So, fun fact, ovarian and cervical cancer cannot be tested or understood through a pap smear. So know the symptoms. So if you have bloating, if you have fullness, if you have uncomfortable periods and so on and so forth, please get with your gynecologist. Take a good look at everything. 70% of ovarian cancer isn't detected until stage 3 or later. So the sooner you get in front of your doctor, the higher the prognosis and the chances of having it.
Yeah, because she was training last year for a photo shoot with Paul, and she kept talking about like, I just feel full, I feel bloated all the time, like I nothing's working, like same thing as you're talking about with inflammation. It's these things that we notice about our bodies, and when you know, like when you feel it, it's your intuition, and you go with it, like, and you don't second guess it, like just go ahead and schedule that appointment, go ahead and talk to the doctor. And so we'd encourage her, like, you need to go see your doctor, go have a conversation, at least just go have a conversation. And it was like, I think you found out the week we were shooting. Or was it the week after?
We thought it was perimenopause.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
It's perimenopause. Yeah.
Go to the no big deal. And went in through a routine ultrasound, went through it, and they said, you know, at that time, it was October, we detected a 12 centimeter mass, but you know what, you are so outside of the balance, you don't fit this standard, like, it's probably nothing. I was like, let's just do another scan, let's just make sure we're doing all of the right things. So then in November, they did an MRI, they went through the MRI, and then December 6th, my doctor called me and she said, I'm so glad you trusted your instincts. Never lose sight of your instincts, because it's your instincts that made us go and look at it again. She's like, and I'm so sorry to tell you this. She's like, but it has all the signs of metastatic cancer, so we're gonna have to run you through the cabinet. And I think it was like, what, 3 weeks later, we scheduled for surgery.
Yeah, and I remember you didn't even know, they couldn't tell you if they were going to do a hysterectomy or not. Like, she didn't know. Like, she's like, I'm going in, and they'll make the decision when she's under. So it was like, not even knowing that she'd come out, like, not knowing that. And so we all knew, and you've just been freaking so strong. So you really are, you're doing awesome.
Thank you. I mean, I couldn't do it without you guys.
Yeah.
So thank you for letting me borrow your strength when I feel like I don't have it.
Yeah, well, that's what it's for. I mean, I think that's why, and I think that's what's so unique about like weekends like this, because there'll be other connections made, and your circle gets bigger to the point where you've got other people that are right in there with you. Right, Ellie? Your turn. Why are you here? Why did you come?
I'm like Lori, I don't love photo shoots.
Ellie's like, I don't know that I'm gonna do this shoot. I think I'm just gonna come and hang out and cheer everybody on. I'm like, no.
Yeah, so
Doesn't
this
work
is not
like
the
that.
first time I've been pushed into a photo shoot.
We're on stage.
Yeah, but once, you know, obviously I'm here and I'm participating, I'm having a good time, but it is outside my comfort zone, and there's still that little voice inside my head that says you're not worthy of being in front of the camera, so.
Have you looked at you?
Right?
You got legs for days.
Beautiful.
But I always walk away from these weekends feeling stronger. And that's why I will always be here. Anything that Cel is doing, I will always be here, because, I mean, like Jayna, I've gotten my strength from these women, and I too have been through a good bit in the last couple of years, and this is just where I get my strength from. But I too am looking forward to an explant. We talked about it on the last call, and I was supposed to have it done in January, and I started second guessing myself. Am I not going to be happy with the results? But bottom line is, I don't like them. I have all of the classic symptoms. The brain fog is ridiculous. I feel almost dumb a lot of times when I'm having conversation with people because I can't find the words. I can't make complete sentences. But lots of the other, the fatigue is terrible, the dry eyes, the dry mouth, just lots of different symptoms. So I'm looking forward to rescheduling my appointment and just feeling better. So
I thought it was just because we were blonde.
You can't be everybody, right?
Well, I have to say, so, and I can talk about the women that I'm heart connected to and know, and I know, like, Allie's the same thing, like, you last year, watching what you have gone through and seeing you on the other side of it, and that you're able to become stronger and be stronger, and I feel like you are in a place of where you're thriving. Like, it's just, you're in such a different space, and that's life circumstances for all of us. Like, when we're all going through something, like, it drains you so much, and it takes away from who you are. And then when that is, whether it's, something heals or something's over, or you get through the challenge, or you get over the challenge and you're on the other side of it, like, all of a sudden you see the bright light again. And so I'm definitely with you. Like, it's been awesome to watch and see, and like, I'm so happy for you.
thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so Maria, I don't know you. But I want to know, Maria. You said Puerto Rico. Where are you from? Portugal. So talk to me, like, tell us a little bit why you're here. 'Cause, like,
I just want to hear your accent.
I know, I just want to hear you talk.
Just
I know.
It's been like a long journey, and a lot of roller coaster. It's like, but in the end, the most important is how many times you stand up, the ones you go down, And I think I've been, grabbing all the time. Everything is bad to make something from that at least good.
Mm-hmm.
Like resume a little bit my life. I came here in 2005 because my husband was working. We were working at the same company, and he was invited to go to Spain. And I'm like, okay, they are neighbors. I can visit my family, And after 3 months before we moved to Spain, they invited him to come here to United States for 3 years. It's already what, 19? Almost 20. And in my head, I was thinking, okay, I go, but I'm going to return. And I never make friends. I was not speaking the language. My English was like what the kids learn for Spanish here, And I was stuck in the house, literally. I came here in 2005, January 1st, and Valentine's Day I discovered I was pregnant for my daughter. I went through all the process to be pregnant without knowing what's going on, It was very hard. Going to the doctor, having my husband to translate, and he poor guy's like, I don't understand what he's saying. It's like, and I'm like going nuts because I'm pregnant, I don't know what's going on, It was my first time. It was like, you read, you see people, but it's not the same way when it's you, But that happened, and my daughter born in October 22nd. And after pretty much a year, but before that, I was learning, doing roller coaster, the rollerblading in Philly, and I felt, and they went to the doctor and discovered I was pregnant on Valentine's Day. I decided to do that a week before my daughter was turning 1 year, and I went to the park, and I felt again that stuff, and then my back was hurting like hell. And I went to the doctor, they took an X-ray, they took a test, and they said, yeah, look, everything's still good. It's just, you need to rest, but you need to stop doing that stuff because you are pregnant.
It was the rollerblade.
I'm telling you, it was the last time I did rollerblade. I know it's nothing about, but I'm like, no more, I was traumatized.
Stop rollerblading.
No more. And of course, when they hit the 3 years, I'm telling you, I packed everything. and I have all the bags, and the door's like, it's time to go. I want to go home, And my husband decided to stay here because it was better for the kids, because, and I understand because he was thinking about the kids, but he could tell me something because I was 3 years by myself in the house, with 2 babies, without speaking the language, without any friends. And that time, there's no Skype, every time I talk with my mom for a minute, 2 minutes, I pay like $25 on the phone. I was completely alone, And that's messed me up in my head too, After the 3 years, I decided to stay here, and literally I didn't left because I feel guilty, because the kids, and because I love him. I was just mad to him, because he could tell me, okay, I'm thinking, doing this, what you think, prepare myself, like, go to the school, what you want to do, we can put the kids in the it was just Sunday. I was just feel like someone pulled the carpet under my feet. In that time, he decided to stay, and after a year, like 4 years, I was like a mess. I could not control myself. I was all the time crying, bad dreams. Killed myself. And I told him that something's wrong with me. I was not even enjoying my kids, And I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, like, look, you look like you're depression. Not just for the fact, maybe because you have 2 babies back to back, and that can happen, but the fact you're homesick, you're alone, you don't speak, you don't. In that time I was started learning the English, but you're alone, and that's normal. And even the doctor told my husband, like, are you living in the same house with this girl? Because she came this point, but she had a lot of symptoms before that. You could not see something was wrong with her. And it was, he felt guilty, but he was all the time working. But that time I'm like, and the doctor's the solution is all the time taking medication, and I'm not that kind of person. And I seriously took 1 pill, and that shit worked for sure. I'm sorry, my language. But but the problem is, I'm like blank. There's nothing. I remember to be driving the car, we stop in the red light, looking at the red light, came for the green, go to yellow, and people and I'm still there. And I could not move. It was blank on my head. And I'm like, and this is going to be the solution for me? This is not the solution for me. And I passed in my left side. It was like a big, from black, open the gym, new gym. And then I went to a gym in Portugal. And I'm like, oh, there's people here, At least I can start, be around people. I need to be, even if I don't talk with them, but I'm around people, And what had happened? In that day, after that traffic light, people literally just, what's wrong with her? I came home and I made the decision, okay, if I'm gonna be here, I need to make a life. I need to make a new person. Because I was looking at myself in the mirror, and then I don't know it's that person in the mirror. You need to be happy, what in this moment you have, And what I did, I decided that it's okay, these kids, they need to go to daycare. I went to the school, started learning English. And I was dropping the kids at the daycare and go to the gym. I was from 9 a.m. until noon. I was jumping from one class to the other class to the other class. I make a schedule, and after go to the school, and after go home, go grocery stores, go pick up the kids. It was I have a plan, I was and that started growing, and the fact I used exercise instead the medication. And I don't say that's for everybody, And it took me a year and a half, seriously a year and a half, to look at myself and start feeling again me. I feel I was all the time numb, I was good, and suddenly I was crying, and I was around, and I was screaming, and I was losing completely. But going to the gym started helping me to changing that, And every time I was doing something, I feel better. And after I decided to, in that time, the Oxygen magazine And I decided to change my nutrition too. And the more I was learning, the more I wanted, because I was feeling good with myself. I was feeling myself. I was better with the kids. I was better with my husband. And after I met the girl there at the gym, and she was doing competitions. And she's like, yeah, you should do a competition. That time not even know what was the bodybuilding.
Is that little Kim?
Kim, little Kim.
Yes, little Kim.
Oh,
yeah.
our little Kim.
The little Kim. And
Oh no, that's
and I was doing all the time the classes, but I want to learn to lift the weights, to use the machines. But I was afraid to do that. And I told my husband, I need a personal trainer. I need to learn to do that. And he's like, whatever you want. Whatever you want. And I had like for a full year to know how to use the machines, how to, the body work, the weights, everything. And I did that, my first show with Kim in 2013. August 4. August 6, my brother passed away. Car accident. He was 25. In that period, it was tough because I feel guilty the fact I was not there and don't spend time with him because I was here. I'm sorry. And I went to Portugal to help my mom, my sister, and that time I was, like I said, was living at the gym, and everybody at the gym know me, and everybody asked me for help, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't work here. I'm sorry, look, I'm just doing the class, and I'm like, I'll set up a machine. I'm like, well, I can tell you, but I don't work here. You should work somewhere. And everybody, and even the guy from the manager from the gym said, like, why you don't take the training to be personal trainer? And I'm like, who want to work with me? No one is gonna understand me. I know, no, because if they want to work with you, they're gonna understand you, But I was not confident with it. And when that happened with my brother, and I brought my mom to the United States to spend 3 months with me because it was the only time she could be like for 3 months here. Because they are living together, I just want her to have a little bit outside the house by herself. And that's like, after that happened. And then like, I thought to myself, there's nothing worse than die, correct? And I thought like, okay, I'm gonna make this something good, and I'm gonna honor this to my brother. I decided to become a personal trainer because of him. And after I started working that in January, middle of January, I started working at the gym as a trainer. And after 6 months after my lung collapse, March 6th, after 6 months, my brother died. And now I'm stuck in the hospital with a tube on my lung. And I'm like, how am I going to survive to this? Because exercise, it's my escape, it's my therapy. And now I'm in this situation, And I saw myself again going that deep hole, And I'm like, no, this isn't gonna happen. Because you start reading about, and you can have problems for the rest of your life. Thank God, I was lucky, nothing damaged inside of me when they did that. Because they don't like looking at the x-ray like, oh, the tube go this way. It was literally, they cut between your rib cage and just stuck a tube. You felt everything, I feel everything. It was the worst pain of my life. After my kids, it was not that bad compared with that. Seriously, compared with my kids, I think this is another 3 kids that have this. And I came home and I'm like, okay, now what happened with me, And I start the first literally month bowling, it look like a game. Has like a small ball in it, and you need to bring the ball up, like blowing up, just to work the lungs. I could not lift the plate from the table. And after a month, I'm like, I need to do something. I cannot be more in the house. I'm just driving me crazy. And I literally grabbed the car and went to the gym. And everybody's like, because I was walking like literally like a walk person, like I could not even be straight. Like, what are you doing here? I need to walk, I need to do something. He's like, no, you're gonna kill yourself, no. And they put a personal trainer, someone with me, because I just wanted to go to the treadmill, just to be outside the house. And I was walking like an old person. I didn't remember there was a guy. And after 3 months, I was again doing pull-ups.
That's awesome.
After 3 months, I was doing again pull-ups. And it's been like that way. Every time I had that big, bad stuff. Yeah, I don't say I don't cry, I don't say you have your moments, but I try all the time grab from this, like, okay, what I can do from this, and this has been my story. Like literally, I've been like, it's just the hardest can have the you're gonna have a lot of bumps on the street, but you just need to think about where the end, and just keep going. If you're alive, it's everything, If you wake up every single day, it's good, It's not about because this person, because that person. Is about be around, feel yourself, be together, and that's make a huge difference. And since I just been involved in fitness and I just decide I'm a fitness instructor. I do pretty much all the classroom Les meals. I'm a personal trainer, I'm a nutrition coach. I love to help. I have a group of girls, we just stay together and exercise. It's not about, there's nothing with more value than someone came to you and say like, thank you, I don't take this medication. Thank you, now I can sit and lift by myself under the chair, there's nothing, there's no any money can pay that, and live each day, Yesterday it's past, future it's a now, today it's a gift. Everything, every single day it's a present. It's the way I live. I think my brother teach me that. I was all the time worrying with the future. I live. It's now, it's the moment.
I love that. I love that so much. Thank you for being so open and vulnerable about all of that. I think this just goes back to the whole weekend of what we've been talking about, overcoming obstacles, facing challenges, taking something that's bad, and like you said, what's the good in it?
What's trying to teach you?
Like, what is it in that challenge? Like, what am I supposed to grow or gain from it? Melissa, give us the 411. What are you right now, like, overcoming challenge, or what is it for you at this moment?
I don't know. I'm just living right now. Living my best life and giving 0 fucks. I'm just doing my thing, and I'm listening to everybody's stories here, and it's just, we all are a bridge to one another. Everybody who's been through something, we've all been there in one way or another with family members or ourselves, and so there's just this unique connection that's in the room, and I think that's why I'm drawn to your events, because it's just a collection of women and stories that you make new friendships with, and you have this sisterhood. It's not just connecting through social media and hearing these stories, and it's like, man, I feel you here. But as I've gotten older, I have just released all of the opinions and everything, the naysayers and what outside. If you're not part of my inner circle and my family, I don't give a fuck what you got to say. So I just, I'm doing my own thing and coaching athletes right now and getting ready to compete again, and just
just steady rolling.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of boring right now.
You're anything but boring. Like when I first met you, I'll never forget. Like she signs up. I've been communicating with her email. She's coming to Be Amazing Weekend, and there's bikini competition. So you have to wear 2-piece bikini, and then you have to do like theme wear. And so I've not seen her yet. And I've only been communicating with her by email, and she freaking shows up. Pink hair, mohawk, the whole thing. And I'm like, oh my God, Pink just walked in the room. Like, it was that, like, I was like, and that's who she is in my phone. It's like Melissa, AKA Pink. But there's a strength about you, and but you're also very feminine, and you have a big heart. And even though you have like this tough ass, like, ballsy. Like, we just went and watched her at we videoed for her at a power lift competition, and it was so fascinating, the women that were powerlifting, and then here you are, like, just such a badass, like, such a badass exterior, but there is such a softness about you, and your heart is so pure and so sincere, especially towards other women, and that's what connected us, because I remember we had coffee after Be Amazing, and you're like, okay, what are we going to do? Like, how, what else have you got going on? Because I'm all in. How do we, what's next? But there's a very genuine strength, but you have a lot of empathy and compassion and sensitivity. And so a lot of people wouldn't even know that right off the bat, because you do have
Because my resting bitch face.
Yes. But there's such a love, like you radiate love though at the same time.
Well, I think it's important for us as women to empower one another and to be vulnerable and share those sides of us, and to walk up to somebody and say, I think you're really magnificent. I see the potential in you, even though you may not at this point. Like, Allie, I love you to death, woman. I'm ready to go to Hot Works on Sunday and die. So it's just, it's my daughter fought with depression and has tried to commit suicide. Luckily, she pulled out of it. So I know mental health it's big. It's generational. It can cycle through generations, and it can also be, environmental as well. And so, I'm very sympathetic to being in a foreign place, not knowing anybody, can't speak the language. I have a daughter-in-law who's Dominican who doesn't speak much English, and so my son translates a lot for her. And they just had a new baby. So I feel like it's, it's important to make sure she's engaged in the family and busy and all that. So it's like everybody telling their stories. It's like something a part of my life and our lives. We feel that, and I feel like, if you believe in God or you believe in the universe, we've been put on the path together to help each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was stressed out about this photo shoot. Because I didn't know what to wear.
Right. But I told you, because you were like, I don't know, Cel, that I'm going to do it. Allie said the same thing. And I'm just like, no, you're meant to do it. I just feel very strongly about that. I think that it's days like today that, number one, break barriers, because we're in kind of that vulnerable position of taking photos. And some people it's supernatural, and then other people it's a little awkward and weird. But when you all come together and there's that support, and then you're going to look at the photos and see where you are and be excited about, this, because this is about journey. This isn't about necessarily, like we talked about earlier, this is not about being lean and lean and mean. I'm showing up to compete and I'm going to get photos. This is about where we are as women right now, where we are in our life. Because most of the photo shoots I've done have always been from the standpoint of, I had a plan, right, had to be ready. Had to have the food plan, the workout plan, everything has to be in order. 6 weeks out, start, let's roll. Week of, watch your water, do all the things, double workouts, sweat it out. I would be at Hot Works. All of that to get lean and mean for something like this. And it's so awesome to be sitting here with all of us. And that has not even been that was not even a thought or a conversation. We didn't even have a conversation about, how we're going to diet down and what we're going to do to get there. And
You were telling all of us to go get ice cream.
Yeah, I was like, go get ice cream.
There's the ice cream
There
place.
it
It's really good.
Right, it's right there. Instead of it being oh my God, now don't eat that before I go because I'm going to be bloated. Or don't eat in the middle of the day because I've still got to be lean enough when the shoot happens. So it's such a joyous. This is such a joyous thing for me. Like, 'cause this to me is fun.
Well, it's also realistic, right? The other way,
Yeah.
when you're preparing for a shoot, it's unrealistic sustainability, right? You're setting false pretenses.
This is real.
for
This
yourself.
is real.
This is a snapshot in your time,
In
in
your
your
life.
goal, into your future. So, I mean, wherever you're going with it, I'm just so happy that we did it.
Yeah. Well, and the pictures that you share, it's like they're you. They're authentically you. And that's what there's going to be so much fun and joy in sharing that. And then if you decided to have a photo shoot as a goal, you might even look at it different the next time you try to do it. Like the next time you shoot with Paul, like that, because shooting with Paul is like it's always a big thing. I don't know, Paul. Shooting with him for like a fitness shoot is like one of those things that you like get yourself, prepped and all that. But for this kind of thing, and for all of us to have come together and like not even that being a thing, I think it's really cool. And I want to go ahead. So Sarah and I met through snowboarding, because my goals, I turned 50 in July, and my goal was, 50 girl, July 10th.
28.
Are you turning 50?
No, I'm turning 45.
Oh, 45, okay. So, but I'm turning 50 this year, and so I had like all kinds of things set for the year, and my husband has tried to get me on a snowboard. Well, at first tried to get me on a mountain bike for 10 years, and I refused. And because I was scared. I'm the biggest scaredy cat. Like, I will do handstands, and I will like monkey bars and like all those things, but getting on a mountain bike, I would go with him and his buddies all the time, and I would run and they would bike. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. It scares me to death. Like, I will be a freaking mess. Because he tried to get me twice, and it was not good. We got lost in 2 hours. Had to walk the bike out. I cried every time going down the hill. It was terrible. And I was like, I'm not doing it. Well, then I got on this kick of like, I'm conquering fear. Like, my whole goal is like, if I can conquer that, then I can show up differently in life. And so I started mountain biking last year. Again, we got a bike, and yes, I cried probably the first 5 rides. Every ride. Tears, like crocodile tears. He's like, what's wrong? I'm like, it's scary. Like, it's scary. I would be like this on the bike. Like, white knuckling, like everything, like the whole time. Now I'm good with it, and I don't cry anymore, but I had to, but I had to get over it. So next was snowboarding. I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn to snowboard. So we tried it the one time with them, and I tried to do it, and I was so frustrated. So I kept Googling for like snowboard camp. Is there a camp? Is there a woman? I want to go to a women's camper clinic. And so sure enough, one pops up, and I told him, I said, there's a snowboard camp, and I want to go, and it scares me, but I'm gonna go, and I don't know who I'm gonna meet, but it's gonna be fun. And so I get there, and I walk in, and there's this chick, and I just told you this earlier, like pink camo, and I'm like, that's a girl I need to know. Like, I need to know her. Like, she's speaking my language, we haven't even talked yet. So I met Sarah, and we've just kind of been stuck side by side. We went up and snowboarded together for a full day after camp, and it was such an inspiring moment to like do something that scares me again. And now I'm excited about it, because now I'll cry about that. Now I'm doing it. But I feel good about it, that we had fun. But I met Sarah, and then Sarah had like this incredible story, and I was like, all right, you have to like share about it. And then when this came up, I kept sending her messages, you need to come to be amazing. And she was like, I don't know if I can come. And then all of a sudden she's like, I'm coming. But share about your story, because this has been like over the past 3 years, right?
So I have three kids. In 2020, it was a tough year for moms with COVID and young kids trying to figure out how to navigate school and daycares being closed. I had a full-time job. I worked for a tech company for 12 and a half years. I never thought that I would steer from that, but I had a surgery 2 weeks before and had a minor complication. Was coming back from the doctor. Well, let me stop. My sons were going to school. And my middle son, who was probably almost 4 at the time, goes, Mommy, look at all these bumps on me. Well, he had hives all over his body. And so my daughter was not 2 yet, and we didn't have a home for her on Friday, so she was just staying back with me. I worked from home. And so my husband decided to stay back with the kids or whatever, so I go into the doctor's appointment by myself. And on the way home, I was just minding my own business, and a utility truck, one of the pole trucks, hit me, ran a red light, and just slammed into me, like T-boned me. I I couldn't feel anything in my arm. I was just very distraught, didn't know what was going on. My husband had just said he was about to call me because he hadn't heard from me. So only thing I could do is hand the guy my phone and show them the number. I was like distraught, couldn't feel my arm. So my husband came and the paramedics came. I still was like Daisy, I didn't know what was going on. So they pretty much can't tell you to go seek medical care or whatever, but they kind of said if you go to the ER with COVID right now, it's going to be like a crazy mess, but make sure you get treated. So it was stressful over the next, I'd say, 1.5 years from the wreck. I went to a regular eye appointment and I couldn't see any of the letters when I was doing my vision test, and he's like, has anybody talked to you about a concussion? No, they haven't. So went into neurology, ended up having a concussion. I was in severe pain in my shoulder and just nerve pain, nerve damage. I was very distraught about like the possibility of my daughter being in the car. So I was just a hot mess. I went from being like sunshine to like just a cloud over my head. I couldn't function. I had the neurologist begging me to take time off of work, but I kind of felt judged, like, okay, I just was on leave for a surgery. If I take time off again, it's going to look bad or whatever. So finally, like 6 months in, I switched jobs within the company, thinking that I just needed to change. Things were not getting better, and I remember we had like video machines or whatever, and I remember getting on video and thinking the video was off, and it was on, and I was just like bawling because I couldn't function at the high level that I was used to functioning at, and I was in severe pain, and doctors were writing me off. My husband went to one of the shoulder surgeons and said that her shoulder's subluxing, and he looked at us like, it's not doing that, and was just very rude to us. It was like this navigating this puzzle. Luckily, I had a good physical therapist friend that was pushing me. She's like, regardless if you end up having to have surgery, we need to get these muscles strong around it or whatever. So finally, she hooked me up with a shoulder surgeon, and he finally listened to me, and he was like, you've done everything I thought you should do. I'll call your PT, talk to him, and he said, I think you need to have surgery. I promise you I won't do anything that's not necessary. And I was very terrified of it because I knew the recovery was tough. I fought getting treated for PTSD and everything for that. I finally got a counselor, and then I ended up getting on some anxiety meds to calm me down because I was having panic attacks in the car, thinking I was at fault or I was going to make a left turn. I mean, it was just a nightmare. And then so everybody's moving on. I mean, I had comments like about the, oh, good lucky you got hit by this person or whatever, and you had that going on, and then you had other people saying, well, at least you're not dead. And so it was very hard because I'm living with this cloud over my head. I'm trying to be a mom of 3 young kids, still navigating like school and like the uncertainty. So in 2021, we found out my daughter, she was 3, and we found out that she had a cross eye, and it was causing her vision to be completely gone in one of her eyes. So as a mom, you're like, oh my gosh, like how did I not know this? So that was going on at the same time. We started patching, having glasses with her, and then within a month we found out she was going to have eye surgery. So that was going side by side with me having to have shoulder surgery, and so the surgeon said do not have shoulder surgery until after her surgery. So 5 days after her surgery, I went in for shoulder surgery. That same week, we all went down with COVID, so I'm like laid out on her shoulder, and we have COVID, and we're just struggling on the struggle train. Go through a PT, shoulder surgery is a beast to recover from.
It was a year and a half.
It was terrible. But I had a fabulous PT, fabulous support. But right after that, when things got better, my immune system went rogue. And I would get sick, like flu-like symptoms. I'd be down for 2 weeks, start feeling better, 4 days later, go right back down. And as a mom, it's defeating because you're trying to feel better and you can't do anything. I couldn't work out, I couldn't do anything. So in November of 2022, I woke up one day and my neck was feeling weird, and I was like, oh, I must have slept wrong. Well, the next morning I woke up in the middle of the night and my neck was like this big. I'm like, what is going on? I was like, Ryan, my lymph nodes are swollen, I don't know what's going on. So I went to my doctor. She was very concerned. She's like, I don't think it's your lymph nodes, I think it's your thyroid. And she goes, I don't know what's going on. We'll put a stat ultrasound. They don't do stat ultrasounds for thyroids. So she was concerned, called me back that day and said, if you are still in pain, you go to the ER because something's going on. Ended up in the ER. They did a CT scan. Said it was a hemorrhaging in my thyroid, which is 1% chance that happens. And then I had a soft tissue infection in it. But that ended up transpiring for me to go to the surgeons at Duke, and he's like, they went from monitoring my thyroid to saying, hey, you need half your thyroid out because it's pressing on your windpipe, and it's only going to get worse. It's not a matter of when. I mean, if it's a matter of when, because it's going to get so bad pushing on your windpipe, you're not going to be able to breathe, you're not going to be able to eat. So I went and got a second opinion at UNC, and they were like, we'll take the whole thing out. We just want to do that. And I was like, oh my God, how did I go from having a big thyroid to having to have half of it to having all of it removed? And I was just like, why does this keep happening? Bad things kept happening. And my son swears it's because my birthday is December 13th. So he does, because Mommy's got bad luck. But anyway, I ended up going with Duke because they had a lot of research on like having half of your thyroid or whatever. So I had that removed March of 2023. I was still getting sick, so I was an immunologist. Nobody could figure out why. So I don't know if like COVID had caused issues or what was the case. So I started working with a naturopath. You name it, I've gone down the avenue or whatever. Finally, this year has been a little bit of relief. And I quit my job. I forgot to tell y'all that. And I took a leave of absence. My company was wonderful, but I ended up quitting because once I was away, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. Like if something happened to my daughter or something had happened to me, like what would this life be working where I was? And so I quit on good terms and took some time off, and then my husband and I own a renovation company, so I started working part-time, and it's been amazing. He's been an amazing support for me, and it's allowed me to kind of get my mental health back and my physical health back, and I joined a networking group in Raleigh and met some amazing women, and one of the ladies owns a strength and conditioning gym, so I started going to work out with them probably 2 months ago. And I met an amazing trainer, and then Erica, who owns it, also does some of the small classes. And I was just doing the group classes that were like 5 to 8 people, which they spot you, they try to help you with the form. And I signed up for some personal training sessions, and she's been a huge mentor to me, which she might not even know that, but we sat down after snowboarding, and I had no idea she was such a badass. No idea. She's over there, I'm so scared of snowboarding. I'm so scared of it too. We bruised up.
That's how we bonded.
And then I'm not big on like social media, but I was on Instagram. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at her abs. Like she's so badass. I had no idea. So I was like writing her like, how can you help me? And she put together an amazing plan. But as I met, it was kind of side by side. I met Erica with her gym, Studio Brick in Raleigh. And she said it was great if you have somebody like there. But then I was asking her like, do you think it's worth 4 to 6 months of personal training? And she's like, absolutely. And they pushed me and pushed me and pushed me. So I have felt so good the past couple months just knowing that like I'm taking care of myself, and I'm finally to the point where I can work out, and it's been such a journey, and I've met amazing people along the way, and just hearing that everybody's got a story in here, and like we've all had some kind of trauma, but snowboarding was my word of the year this year was adventure. So I started off the year with snowboarding. Y'all, our goal that day was to go down the lift once. Well, I think the second time we came up.
Second time we were going out, and we went, I think we did 2 or 3 times,
yes.
I don't remember.
But the first time we went up the lift, I said, hell no. I took my snowboard and I walked my ass down that mountain. So I was so terrified of it, but I stayed with my little boys snowboard. They're 9 and 7, and they're like little badasses on the snowboard. But so my goal for that was like, I want to do something as a family. My little daughter will learn next year. She did a couple lessons this year, but after she left, the weather got better, and I went up that dang mountain, and I went down that lift, that green lift, and I got a video of me like snowboarding without falling. So my year is adventure. So when I started rethinking about coming, because my family always goes to the coast, I was like, I can't leave them. And then I was writing her, asking her questions, and then I listened to the first call that y'all did, and I was like, oh God, I have to go. It's overcoming obstacles. All these ladies have had obstacles, and I was like, Brian, do you mind if I go on this weekend? And he was so supportive of it. So I'm so excited to be here. I'm a little nervous about that run tomorrow, but
It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really good. I think that's interesting. Like, it was so funny when we met because we didn't talk really about fitness until the next time we went up. And I remember and I've watched you, just the text messages that come through and the constant messaging that you've had with me with like, Cel, I went to the gym today, check this out. Like, my trainer's telling me to do this. And I'm like, yes! Like, because and you can already tell a difference just in your confidence level and just as you as like, yeah, girl. Yes.
I had a friend compliment me the other day and I'm like, yes. She thought it was a spray tan. I'm like, no girl, it's the So, I mean, that has been part of the adventure, but I think the mountain helped release some trauma too, because again, it was a fear, like, I'm gonna fall, and I fell. I mean, people told me they've never seen bruises like I had on my legs. I'm gonna have knee pads next year. But it was kind of like the start of the year to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I went up, that was the first trip they didn't get mad at me for, because they were like, Mommy's gonna snowboard with us next year. And it's so empowering to know that, like, we're gonna make memories on the mountain. You know, I got some people saying, like, y'all are too old for that. I'm like, no, I'm doing it. I'm doing it, and I'm gonna be a badass mom snowboarding. So, there you go.
Yeah, I love that's what this whole weekend is about. And I think, and that's why I wanted to do this as a podcast, because there will be women that, just like you listened to that call that we did, there'll be somebody that can resonate with somebody in this room. There'll be somebody that's going through something or hears something or be like, oh my gosh, I could so do that. Because even like today, like, I love this so much. The try on the monkey bars. All it takes is one person, because people will walk by something and be like, inside, I wonder what do I do with that? I wonder if I could do that. Could I do that? And then you watch one person do it and you're like, huh. And then you watch the next person, then it's like, well, I think I can try that. And I love that, because that's how it works. And that's what makes like weekends like this so freaking special. So I'm still looking forward to, because we're just getting started. And tomorrow is going to be a blast, and Sunday's going to be a blast. And I think we're going to come away very connected, and I think we're all going to like connect, but I think we're going to grow too at the same time.
I feel adopted in already.
Oh, yeah. Already.
By the out-of-towners, but also the Charlotte.
Yes.
Oh, we'll put you to work. You just live in.
We're just letting y'all get through the day.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, y'all just getting through today. After today, like we're all in this together. So it's so fun. But thank y'all so much for being so open and sharing, and I'm excited to share this episode. I think I really do think somebody will resonate with the conversation here, and just the talking about overcoming obstacles. We all go through challenges. We all face it. A lot of times we feel like we're in this challenge by ourselves and nobody else is in it. If they're in it, it's just different. It just looks different. But I just want to say thank you, and we'll be dropping this episode soon on the Be Amazing podcast. And thank y'all for listening, and like, keep coming back. There'll be more episodes dropping, more stories and conversations to be shared. And this has been amazing.